Sometimes I gotta push the button. Hello. Actually, it's the Book of the Dead. Actually, supposed thing. This is the Steel Book for the Mummy Saga NXT. Scorpion King is in there, but I will not be reviewing that, at least this month. Just the first three main ones. And before you even ask, no, I'm not going to do the Tom Cruise Mummy. I'm saving that some other time. Some other time! Just the ones that like dealt with my childhood. And the third one sort of does, so. So the story here is that centuries ago in ancient Egypt, Imhotep, the high priest, fucked the pharaoh's wife and had sex with the pharaoh's wife, basically having an affair with the pharaoh's wife, at Anaxunamun, and the pharaoh found out, and so they killed the pharaoh, but Anaxunamun kills herself, so she wouldn't be captured, I guess. So Imhotep takes her body to Amun-Ra, which is the Hamunaptra. I'm stupid. The Hamunaptra, the city of the dead. Look at it. City of the dead, where where he attempts to resurrect her, but it doesn't work. The guards catch up and mummify him alive. He suffers the Hamdai, a curse that makes you all powerful if you were to come back. Whoops. What kind of curse is that? I may die, but I will come back and be more powerful because of your curse. Huh? Years later, in 1923, Rick O'Connell and the French Foreign Legion are defending themselves against the Magi, defenders of the city. And when Benny, he runs away, O'Connell is forced to run as well, and I think they kill most of the French Foreign Legion, or they run off or something, and O'Connell is left alone. Now we transition to the 1930s, where Rick O'Connell has been in prison, and Jonathan, the brother of Evie, he has in possession of this key that links back to Hamunaptra. And so they have to save O'Connell by bribing the warden with the treasures of Hamunaptra, and then they go to find Hamunaptra, and what they get is a big gooey mummy and the wrath of Imhotep. Whew, a lot of exposition just to open up, tell the story here. Brendan Fraser. I mean, I knew Miss George of the Jungle, but here, this is where I really started getting, and I like this guy. Of course, he didn't come back for George of the Jungle too, but we'll let that go. So, the effects. Well, at the beginning of this, when they show you the city of Cairo, Egypt, whatever, the ancient city, it looks like a video game. But, it looks like a video game from now-ish. So it's not too bad, but it still looks like a video game. And then, you get all of the CG effects, as much as people bitch about CG. This is late 90s, early 2000s CG. It's terrible. When they use practical effects, which there is quite a bit of practical effects, when they use those, it's great. When they get the CGI, it's shit. Especially since they decided not to do the mummy practical. I mean, they have a practical mummy. They show, like, all gooey and dead. But once he's reanimated, he's completely CGI. And he looks terrible. And they mix that with the actor Arnold Vosloo, who plays the mummy, Imhotep. He's like, he's just like, oh. And I'm ashamed to say, I used to be afraid of this movie. When it first came on VHS, my mom and my grandma, they rented it, and they were watching it. And I was afraid to even go near it, because I thought it was going to be scary. One, it's not a horror movie. You know, it's supposed to like reboot the classic Mummy series. The classic Universal monsters weren't horror movies for the sake of horror movies. Like, they weren't trying to do jump scares and stuff. They were more horror movies to show you the horrors of being a monster. You know, like Dracula, and how Dracula, the 1931 Dracula, is not so much about Dracula being a scary vampire, but the fact that he bites Mina and she's transforming into a vampire, and what the horror of transforming into a vampire is like. And in the horror that Jonathan Harker might have to kill his beloved. And then you have Van Helsing, who has to, you know, bring it up himself in the horror of taking that leap and killing Dracula. That's what it is. It's not jump scare city left and right. This is neither of those. It's more of an action adventure series in the vein of Indiana Jones or Romancing the Stone or something like that. And I like what they did with these. And then they tried to duplicate that with Tom Cruise, and it didn't work. But it looks like they might have learned their lesson with The Invisible Man. It looks like they're going into straight horror with that one, so we'll see. I'm interested, and I need to review The Invisible Man sometime this month too, because like the original, 1933, I think. Anyway, so we got John Hannah, who plays Jonathan, the brother of Evie. The actors: Brendan Fraser. You got Brendan Fraser. You got Oded Fair. He plays Ardith Bay. You have John Hannah, who plays Jonathan. You have Rachel Weisz, who plays Evie. Stephen Dunham is in this. The one guy he's in Jumanji twice, because he's the Mr. Parrish, and then he's Van Pelt. The guy, I think it's Eric Avadi, I think his name is. He's the curator here, and he was in like Stargate, and he's in like a bunch of other stuff. And the guy who played the warden, who was in the short-lived sitcom Whoopi, he played Nassim in Whoopi, short-lived sitcom, which I've watched all the episodes on YouTube. It's a great show. Watch it. If they're still on there, it's Whoopi. You know, like Whoopi Goldberg, Whoopi, Whoopi. They're funny as hell. Watch those. You know, if you like him, you like him. If not, you're not. I'm not telling you to like him. You're not. But he's good on that. And he's funny here, too. And so John Hannah, when it comes to these films, he's great in this one. He's okay in the second one. And by the third one, it's just like, can you shut him up, please? Just push him off the mountain. Just shut him up, please. And Evie is a little annoying in this one, but I think she's better in the second one. She becomes a little more serious. Benny. I wish he was in more films, but he's not. But he reminds you of Bartok. Oh, sir, so happy to see you again. It just... it's funny. Oh, come on. Well, if it ain't my old buddy Benny, I think I'll kill you. And so, yeah, just... And Arnold Vosloo as Imhotep. Did you know originally they were going to have Imhotep narrate the story? But then they realized Imhotep doesn't speak English. He only speaks Egyptian. So instead they settled on Oded Fehr's Ardith Bey, which makes more sense because he's a Medjay. He would know the tale, and he would not be a freaking mummy when the movie started. So telling the story from his point of view would make sense. And like I said, some of the effects are just, you see them, you're like. But then there's practical effects, and the practical effects are great. CGI is terrible. Practical effects is great. And I was sitting here watching this, I'm going, how was I ever scared of this movie? There was a point where horror movies just kind of freaked me out for a while. And it wasn't until, I don't know, it's got to be before maybe it was when my great-grandma died. And I started being like, I want to find more horror movies. Freddy vs. Jason and stuff like that. I was like, there was a point with Child's Play that I was just terrified of Chucky. For some reason, I don't know why. I just was. I was lifting my feet up, make sure they don't dangle over a chair or something so you can't grab me. I don't know what it was. But I got over it, and now I love horror movies. I could binge horror movies all day, all night. I'm not. I don't know what was wrong with me. But here just, the Mummy. And even Oded Fehr is pretty good in this. The Nostalgia Critic made a joke in his review where after every sentence it should end with either man or you released the cuss. Man, you will kill us all. It makes sense. But yeah, I still enjoy this movie quite a bit. And I still laugh. The one joke I've always laughed at, and I still laugh at to this day, is at the end. After they've survived, the biggest thing is that they think they lost all the treasure, but it turns out Benny has been taking treasure in and out, just trying to hide it. Just trying to get it out of there, and it's on the camels. And so there's that, but then there's the scene that I laugh at is when O'Connell and Evie are kissing, and Jonathan grabs the camera and goes, "What about you? How about to kiss you with?" I laugh at that every time. Also, another one of my jokes is by the guard. To this day, I still quote him because he doesn't like bugs. He hates bugs. So because I hate bugs, to this day, I say, "I hate bugs." Just quoting him, and some, I know what good soup. But my favorite is when they, what was he doing? And they asked what O'Connell was doing out there, and he said, when I found out, I asked it myself, and he told me he was just looking for a good time. And then after he grabs Evie, after O'Connell grabs Evie and kisses her, the guards start beating him up, and she's like, "What happened?" And he goes, "Apparently, he had a very good time." I love that. He had a very good time. But guys, this is a good movie. I don't know what else to say. The fight between O'Connell and Imhotep is pretty good. There's just the first film is great, and then they made a second one, and we'll talk about that one when it's time, because I got stuff to say about that one, and I got stuff to say about the third one. So, with that in mind, my score for The Mummy is an 8 out of 10 for The Mummy, 1999. What are your thoughts on The Mummy from 1999? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.